Hi, this is John Krysinsky, Pittsburgh Soccer Now. I'm with Ryan Hankey. Ryan, Penn Hills High School boys head coach. It's been a long time since Penn Hills made it to the boys soccer playoffs and the WPIAL. Ryan, just first of all, the emotion of being able to accomplish that, I'm sure that's a special feeling for you and for your team.
Yeah, it was definitely for me an emotional last week of the season, being that we needed to beat Woodland Hills, our last section game to make it to the playoffs. I mean, since I've taken over, we've had a couple of rough years, and to be that close. I mean, the boys have put in a lot of work. I mean, we put in a lot of work in the off season, all summer, and telling them that they deserve to make the playoffs, but now they had to go out and earn it. And it was very emotional. A lot of parents sent a couple of notes for me to read to the boys to like wish them luck for that last game, and I was glad that we got the result that we needed.
So maybe take us through the past few years in your time as head coach at Penn Hills in terms of, obviously, you know, if I go back to when my son was playing at Fox Chapel, Penn Hills was it was 3A at the time, but it was the highest classification. Now you've dropped from 4A to 3A, but you're still an unbelievably competitive section with, you know, you have Franklin Regional, you have Plum, you have I believe Kiski. There's some really good programs there that are just year in and year out are going to be there, and then there's that competitive group kind of behind underneath them. So what's that been like?
To be honest with you, I mean, it is tough to compete with a lot of those teams, like the Franklin and Plum, where their entire lineup and JV all plays cup and plays all year long, and I'm here with maybe 3 or 4 kids that play all year long. So it's really just trying to, I know I sound like Tomlin by saying that we're trying to raise the standard and expectations and the commitment level. So having the school, Penn Hills, being able to have a great indoor facility. We have that Freilich Center where it's a 40 by 50 turf field to practice at least once a week all winter, to have a couple of tournaments with the youth program and with the high school, having tournaments there, kind of tries to create that buzz. But yeah, I mean, when I took over 6 years ago, I mean, I had 18 seniors, and a lot of them were pretty high level players. And then the next year after that, didn't win a game. And it's been just a couple of win seasons, and to see us to kind of, I mean, it didn't even start well this year, with going 2-5 the first time through the section, and having a huge win against West Mifflin for the first time, to come back and win that game. And then the Gateway beating them for the first time since I've been the coach, really started then the boys kind of start buying back in, knowing that, hey, we do have a chance.
Yeah, and speaking of, you're talking about your boys, I mean, just in terms of the roster and the players you have, as you head towards your playoff matchup, maybe talk about some of the key contributors for your squad this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're relatively young, John. I mean, I'll probably start 5 or 6 sophomores, and a couple of juniors and a couple of seniors. So, I mean, the seniors, Charlie Rosemeyer, Josh Lee, Tyler Stewart, they've been around when times were tough, and to see it that their senior year, that they got a chance to make it to the playoffs is special. After our one game against Woodland Hills, a senior actually said, "Coach, 4 years ago when we went 1-17, you were like, hey, by your senior year, we'll make the playoffs." to actually make it. He goes, I thought you were kind of lying. So I mean, it's been special. And juniors class, there's been some key contributors, Eric Cronin and Alex Montague, Eleanor Zameldodov. I'm going to butcher his name. He's been our leading goal scorer this year with 12 goals. And then Lenny Duncan too. He plays cup level with me all year long. And the sophomores have really stepped up, to be honest with you. Last year, it was definitely a rebuilding year. There was times that I started 9 freshmen in a varsity game last year, and to see them just continuing to grow and develop. And I'm glad that we got to a point where we can make the playoffs this year. So then we can kind of continue to raise that expectation and standard.
Yeah, you brought up an interesting point. Listening to you, and I coached at the high school level too, and sometimes, especially if you go back many years, even at a small college level, many years ago, getting 11 soccer, 15 soccer players that's all they play year round, or at least are well technically sound players and build around that. It's kind of gone by the wayside, especially in the quad A, the 3A level. But still, there are programs out there like Penn Hills, communities where it's still tough to get a full roster of soccer players. And I mean, when I say soccer players, I mean, they've been training year round. They're playing for clubs and things of that nature. So that's a challenge that it's still out there. It's not out there as much, but it's still out there. So someone like yourself with your background and your coaching, I'm sure it takes a certain level of patience, and also those players on your team that are club players. I always felt like that was an issue when I was coaching, and I had 2 or 3 quote unquote club players, and then the rest of the roster were kids that love to play soccer. They were but they were on a different level, and so like meshing that and bringing everybody together, I'm sure that's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, it's Penn Hills. I mean, we have athletes, and to kind of just continue to coach the players that are the key players and understand that help. I mean, I always try to tell them, hey, coach yourselves, coach, help coach the team. If you see a problem, go over and talk to that player. And see, so they know what you want on the field. And really, I mean, this year the ups and downs. When we're playing good, the mental soccer mistakes are minimal. When we lose and aren't playing well, it's kind of just that soccer sense, little miscues that just come with experience. But that's why having such a young team and continuing to have them grow and experience higher level is just going to help them in the next couple of years.
So before we get into the playoffs and the matchups, and I'd love to talk to you about your section as well a little bit more, but one of the things I really enjoyed about Penn Hills facility, you have a soccer specific facility there. You have a soccer field at the middle school to train and to play your games on. And I don't know if the WPIAL has done it since, but I know in 2015 there were neutral site games played at that field, and I thought it was fantastic. Whereas instead of playing, I know it's a little bit of a challenge in terms of maybe parking and some of those type of things, but I think it's a fantastic field, and obviously no football lines or anything like that. I'm sure that's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, no, I've been saying that for a couple of years now, that I'm surprised that the WPIAL doesn't use our field more often. Just because, I mean, even as a player, I would love to play on a field that doesn't have the football lines and everything. It might help the refs a little bit, with offsides and counting off 10 yards and stuff. But
We don't want to go.
but yeah, I mean I remember when I first started, I think there was playoffs on our field, and then it hasn't been there since. So hopefully they'll maybe take notice again to play some games on that.
You know that, you know, from a media standpoint, if I have to go cover, you know, it's not exactly the, you know, best press box, but then again, I've been to crazy press boxes over the years. Yeah, I'll take it, you know. But the field itself is fantastic, and I think it's definitely an asset for your program. All right, so heading into this, you know, obviously, I believe you're playing Hampton Saturday. Yeah. This is, you know, obviously going to be a tough matchup. But before we get into that, you know, this section, you know, Franklin Regional, Plum, you know, ahead of you, and I believe Krysinsky as well. Just maybe talk about them and their chances, and really your section's chances in 3A.
Well, Krysinsky actually isn't in our section. They're actually in Hampton.
That's right.
They were in our section last year, but for some reason, I don't know how they moved, and Greensburg-Salem was put in our section. But I mean, Plum and Franklin are two first place teams, and they're solid. I mean, they have a lot of great players. I mean, obviously with Franklin DeFalco, and I think he's been the leading goal scorer of a WPIAL for a couple years already, and has WPIAL championships under his belt. And Plum too. I mean, both are coached really well. Both teams are coached really well, and just have really solid players. And they're always extremely tough to play 4 times a year. But and Gateway too. Yeah. They've always have really strong, solid players, coached well, and even this year, I mean, West Mifflin was always in the playoffs. Woodland Hills made the playoffs a couple of years when they had a lot of seniors, and I mean, they weren't just walking the parks. I mean, they were really, those 5 and 6 place teams in our section still had 6 and 5 wins in the section. So I mean, it's definitely well-rounded from high tier down to the bottom, that half decent strong teams.
Yeah, so now you take on Hampton, who've been a little bit of a surprise, but you know, we knew that that's always been a really good program. They've been second to Mars for so long, so now they've kind of jumped into that 2 seed. Have you had a chance to get a look at them at all? And is there you know, what do you anticipate in this matchup on Saturday?
I definitely anticipate the experience level will be on their side, having made playoffs in the past. I think I watched one video that one of their games, and they started 11 seniors, which is crazy to think. This is starting 11 seniors. So yeah, I mean, the experience, the talent level is definitely going to be there. The coaching level is going to be top notch. It should be fun. I mean, and I keep telling our boys that we have nothing to lose. They have everything to lose. So, I mean, if we just go out and play hard and strong, like we know how to play with less minimal mistakes, it should be a good game.
And you mentioned the Gateway win. I'm sure that was just a huge confidence booster.
Yeah, I mean, playing West Mifflin the game before, right, we had the unfortunate circumstance where we were given a red card 10 minutes into the game. So we played a man short the entire West Mifflin game, and to squeak a goal by with a man short really gave the boys confidence, and that they could play, and they could play with anyone. And then playing Gateway the next game, I mean, we had that. We have no men. We have. We don't. We're not looking. We have nothing to lose mentality. I mean, when we play strong with energy and confidence for 80 minutes, I mean, we're a tough team.
Well, and I think that's what the playoffs are all about. And so seeding kind of goes out the window when, you know, you're a team, then you're dealing with a well-organized group in front of you. You got to make a team like Hampton work for their goals. And if you do that, make them work for every pass and deny everything you can. And then you never know. Good things can happen and you've got a lot of confidence brewing. So we're always pulling for those upsets and
yeah.
Journalists were objective over here at Pittsburgh Soccer Now, but we do we always love the upsets, so we'll be watching closely, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely exciting to be part of the playoffs for the first time, and it's kind of ironic, John, that 17 years ago, the last time Penn Hills made the playoffs, they played Hampton in the first round. Wow. So it's kind of funny how history repeats itself.
Well, I think,
but hopefully it's with a different result, possibly.
Yeah, hopefully for you guys. But again, either way, I think this has been a remarkable season for a lot of teams. We've seen a lot of programs kind of take steps forward in progression, and honestly, from the Pittsburgh soccer standpoint, that can only bode well when you start to see some programs that haven't had a lot of success start to have some more success. I think it shows that soccer in our area is growing, and it's not just Plum. I'll pick on Raft, okay? It's starting to branch out, and there's a little bit more competitive, across the board. And
yeah, most definitely.
I know that's a challenge. I know the WPIAL is and the PIAA is getting criticized for this recently, with lopsided games and things of that nature. But I think there's been signs of progress along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, to see that, 4 years ago we didn't win a game, and now with a young team making the playoffs, hopefully putting Penn Hills back on the map, on the soccer map. I know when I was in high school, Penn Hills was one of the top teams in our section. It's good to see that hopefully we start getting noticed again. And
real quick, I'm sorry, I should have done this right off the top, but just give us your background a little bit in terms of your soccer.
I went to Gateway, and I know I played a lot my freshman year. I was a goalkeeper, and then played a couple years at West Virginia University until my knee and knee surgeries kind of just
when were
put
you
me out of commission.
What year?
95 to 96.
Okay.
I mean, I was there for 4 years, but played for 2 years.
All right. So you're before Nick Noble and probably a little bit before Nick, right?
Yeah, that name isn't sounding familiar.
Yeah, he's actually a goalkeepers coach with WVU now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ryan, I mean, congratulations on earning the playoff bid. First of all, good luck on Saturday. I really appreciate spending a little bit of time getting to know you a little bit, and really Pittsburgh soccer fans get to know Penn Hills a little bit too. I think it's a great story, and good luck on Saturday.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Definitely love watching your interviews and your tweets and your posts, things like that. You definitely keep Pittsburgh soccer communities in the loop on all the soccer events. So I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate that too, and we love doing it, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to have bring a lot of coverage for the playoffs this year. All right.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right.
Hey, thank you. Have a good one, John.
All right, thanks so much.